Hey guys, thanks for joining me this week on For All Things Lexington. It's the only show dedicated to Lexington, South Carolina. Here, you'll hear me talk to people, groups, bands, and organizations about where to go, what to do, and who's who in and all around our beautiful Lake Murray. I'm your host, Angela Barrett, and this is For All Things Lexington.
For All Things Lexington has been brought to you in part by Chris Jenkins of VigilanteFit.com. Train with a beast.
Hey guys, thanks for joining me again today. Today I have Chris Jenkins, the Vigilante, aka I guess. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I've known you for a while. We won't say how long, and but you are a personal trainer,
Right.
and a pretty major power lifter. So I'm gonna start with the powerlifting part.
Okay.
First of all, tell me where the Vigilante came from. What's the meaning? What's the behind all that?
Well, growing up as a kid, I was a big fan of the Ninja Turtles. I'm still a big fan of Ninja Turtles. I'm a big kid at heart. So, yeah, they were vigilantes. They were, four group of vigilantes, and it correlated a lot with what my mom used to tell me when I was growing up. She's like, if you want something, son, you have to go out and you have to get it. You have to go out and you have to earn it. So you need to take action, take matters into your own hands. That doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. That doesn't mean like, okay, go and break the law, but
Sure.
You have to go out and earn something if you really want it. And that's what I try to instill in all of my clients. And that's something that I had to remember when I was going through my own personal fitness journey, because I didn't always look like this. I wasn't always the big muscular guy.
You always have tree trunks for arms?
No, ma'am. I had more like ham hocks for arms. But that's okay.
Yeah.
Here we are now.
That's right. And so speaking of your mom, she's kind of been a big influence for you throughout all of your journeys, but especially this.
Yeah.
She's just kind of the lady back here in the mindset, you're going to have to do that again.
Yeah.
So now, as far as your powerlifting, when did you start actually that process?
Well, I joined a gym called Spud Inc. back in 2014, and I always wanted to be strong. Like, regardless of whether I was doing it for money or just to walk around and say that I was the strongest person, I always wanted to be strong. And the Spud Inc., the guys around, that community, they kind of empowered me and was like, hey, look, you can really do this. Like, you were really strong. You should compete. And I was like, I don't think I should do it. It was like, I tell you what, we'll write you a program. This was in late 2016, it was like, we will write your program for free, something that we charge for. We'll do it for free. If you don't like it after your first competition, then, you don't have to do it. But if you really like it, which we think that you will, then we really think that you can be really good at this. And I did my first one in, I want to say January 2017. Won first place. It was me and three other guys in my weight class. Me and three other guys won first place. And I was like, this is fun. It was like, see, we told you. And it's, it's kind of been addicting ever since then.
Because there is a big difference in bodybuilding and powerlifting, and even I sometimes accidentally mix those words up, and I don't mean to offend anybody. It's just, when you don't powerlift or you don't bodybuild for competitions, you sometimes mix it up. But so powerlifting, I mean, you're lifting like insane amounts of weight, and sometimes it's a one and done. Like, I mean, if you can get that much up or off the floor, depending on what you're doing, I mean, that's kind of it, right?
Yes. Because
it is about, at least you got it up that one time.
Correct.
So tell me some of the highlights. Like, I think I watched, was it squatting? The last one?
Yes.
I don't know how many damn dumbbells were on the end of that thing. But anyway, tell me how much weight that was.
My last competition, I didn't quite hit the numbers. I think I missed the 782 on squat. I missed 782. I got called for depth, but my best.
It's like almost 8 of me.
It is a lot of weight, and it does take a lot to takes a lot of food, a lot of rest, a lot of preparation to lift that kind of weight. But my absolute max at that, yes, ma'am. 777 pounds is my all time best. I'm still aiming for 782. I'm still aiming for 800. So, hey, and I know people probably listening right now is like, what is this guy talking about? He out of his mind. But
that's right.
You know.
Well, you know, it's very interesting, and I think the most interesting part of it is, and what people should be really thinking about, is the discipline that it takes, because it is eating certain times, certain amounts, certain ways. There's a lot that goes in. It's not just rolling up into the gym and start lifting some weights.
That's correct.
There's a whole lot else that goes into that, and it takes a whole lot of discipline. So if you're looking for your child to, you know, have a fun way of having some discipline, it would probably be a good way. Not child, teenager / young adult. So now I know squats, but what is I know done chest press. Have you done the I can't remember seeing those pictures.
So the three lifts in powerlifting, you have squat, bench, deadlift in that order.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I just don't remember seeing. Okay, so tell me the weights on those other two.
My best bench press is 446 pounds, and my best deadlift is 705 pounds.
Oh, that's a lot. That is a lot. And y'all do that all in one day?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, God. That is.
And when you have breaks. I mean, there's other lifters. You have different flights. Depending on how many lifters signed up, you know, you may have 3 different flights. You know, I've been, you know, lucky and unlucky enough to be in. When I went to Utah in 2023 last year, I was unlucky enough to be in a 10-man flight. So that's a short flight for those of you who don't know powerlifting. That's a really short flight. So the rest time is very minimal.
Right.
Yeah. Now, if you were in maybe 15, 20-man flight, then you have more time to rest.
Right.
You probably have maybe about 10 minutes in between attempts. So, which is, it's really a lot of time.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
So, you're not trying to like eat or anything between. That's just truly just resting.
Right. You don't want to eat in between attempts. You do want to eat in between the actual lifts. So after everybody's done with third attempts and they get ready to prepare the platform for the bench press, that's when you want to eat. That's when you want to have another meal. That's when you want to maybe drink some electrolytes, you know, have some salt water, eat some bananas, like even peanut butter and jelly sandwiches work, you know, old school, you know, first grade snacks and stuff like that. Those things work. Gummy bears, like I know people probably thinking like, what in the world? That's not very healthy. But you know, your body will need the sugar, the glycogen, the carbohydrates to, you know, help you refresh in between those attempts, because that's a lot of weight. Even though you're getting a lot of rest, it's a lot of weight.
Well, and I think that's what I mean about there's more to it than, your gummy bears and your this and that. Peanut butter and jelly doesn't sound like it's on the healthy list, but those would be times when you need that quick, fast energy. But that's not what you would eat on an everyday basis, by any stretch of the imagination. This would be competition, special cases. That would be when you would do that. And again, so you kind of have to know what you're doing and have somebody help along the way. And getting into that. So there goes to the personal trainer part of it, the Vigilante Fit.
Yes.
All right. And so you do personal training, not necessary powerlifting, but I'm sure you do some of that as well. But for the everyday Joe Blow, like myself, tell us about let's first talk about what your philosophy is as a trainer, because I think every personal trainer kind of has a different philosophy of how they go about it. Not that it's right or wrong, but I think you need to know that you match with whom you're training, and the person training needs to know they match with you. And so that's what I mean by different philosophies. So tell me what your philosophy is as far as personal training.
Well, my main go-to quote is being in control and not out of control. And being in control, what that consists of is sticking to the basics, having great form during the sessions, and not doing a lot of fancy stuff. Like, you know, social media and things that we see on TV can really get us into this, mindset that, we have to do that because, the fittest person is doing that, or we have to do that because the most famous person is doing that. We have what we should do is we should do the things that work best for us. That's really what we should be doing. And what I found that works best for most people is the basics, the simple stuff, the exercises and the lifestyle that's been around for years.
And so when you are doing a personal training with somebody, you don't only help them with lifting weights and getting physically stronger or physically more fit, but you also try to help them however they choose, whether you kind of write out a program for them as far as eating, depends on what their goal is, I guess. But you kind of help them through that nutritional process too, because as we all say, abs are not made in the gym. They are made in the kitchen.
That's right.
You're not going to get a flat belly by doing 5,000 sit-ups a day.
Correct.
It's not going to happen.
Yes.
So you help them with that as well.
Yes. And a lot of it, trying to just mainly helping them build habits. A lot of people who come to me who don't feel as if they're in the best shape that they feel like they can be in, they have a lot of bad habits outside of the gym.
Don't we
all? Yes. Well, yeah, we all, look, we all have bad habits. I have bad habits myself. Nobody's perfect, but when it comes to building a better you, a lot of times they lack on hydration. A lot of them are stressed. A lot of them don't sleep very well. And when it comes to those three, when it comes to those three, a lot, like those three those three will definitely hinder your progress.
Yeah. And I think because a lot of people, and we won't get too in depth because it really, the cortisol from the non-sleeping is a major function. One, why you're so stressed, and then two, why you can't lose weight or you can't get past this or that other. But again, that's a whole nother.
Yes, absolutely.
That would be a whole nother podcast just on that subject alone. But so let's just give everybody an example. You've got somebody who has come into you and they've never done any weightlifting whatsoever in their life, but something's happened. They want to change pace. They want to change things in their lives, not only just to lose weight, but they just want to be more physically fit, be stronger, maybe toner. But I know it is independent. I mean, it's got to be individualized. But give us a basic of what kind of help them, where you would take them from there.
So from there, first thing we want to do is we want to do a consultation. We always try to meet during the time we can both sit down and face to face and talk, or either virtually we can sit down and talk. We do a consultation. We talk about some of the things that's kept them from hitting goals, a lot of the goals that they actually want to hit. Just going through medical history and stuff like that. Then we do an assessment. And this is for a person who's pretty much never worked out or hadn't worked out in a long time. Sure. We do a physical assessment. We always do a push-up test. Always do something like a cardio test, where we, see how much they can tolerate. If you had heart problems, which hopefully none of these people listening have not, if you've done a stress test, it's similar to a stress test. And we also go over nutrition, like, what do you eat throughout the day? And it's a no judgment thing. I'm like, I want you to tell me what it is that you eat normally on a regular basis. And I try to make them comfortable. I'm like, it's highly likely that whatever it is you're eating, I've eaten before, or I like to eat.
Right.
I'm like, well, I really like fries. I'm like, that's great. I really like fries too. The difference between you and I is like, I have to pick and choose when I want to have fries versus, going to the drive-thru every day. And again, fries aren't inherently bad, but the lifestyle, the habits is what get bad for most people.
Right.
Yeah.
And the frequency.
Correct.
And the other thing that I think, I know for me personally, I am not able, not that I have to lose any weight, but would never be able to lose weight if I did not lift weights. And people don't seem to understand that, but that's very individualized. But I think most people find that with both weights and cardio, it goes a whole lot faster. I mean, for me, with just cardio, nothing happens. Not one single thing, but that's just me personally. But I think both of those together kind of help, don't you?
Absolutely, yes.
And cardio, explain. I mean, that doesn't mean you have to be running on a treadmill or things like that. Explain to people, because I think when they think of cardio, you've got to go to aerobics. I don't even know if they have aerobics anymore. Or, some form or like, something like that, or run. But that's not necessarily the case to get your heart rate going, right?
It is not. I've been a big fan of boxing even as a little kid. Like growing up, I watched a lot of Mike Tyson and Sugar Ray Leonard. I've always liked boxing. Then I learned how to box. Then I learned how to teach people how to box. So boxing is a great form of cardio. A lot of people like Zumba. Zumba is great. A lot of people like dance, like you said, dance aerobics and stuff like that. The thing with cardio is you have to find what modality that you like the most and that you enjoy, because if you don't enjoy the cardio, you won't do it.
That's right.
And I'm glad you brought up treadmills and stuff like that, because me personally, I don't like treadmills.
Yeah, I don't.
So for me to say, hey, you need to go and walk on the treadmill would be a little unfair.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you brought it up, so I'll go ahead and go here. Boxing. Rock Box is where you also teach classes and teach people how to box.
Yes.
Yes, we see each other there. I'm like you. I like to box. I like things that are kind of probably not your normal everyday cardio. But what I'm going to go ahead and just say this. I love being in Chris's classes. I've been in other classes of his, not just at Rock Box. This was, again, prior to Rock Box, but at Rock Box. If you want somebody who's going to make the most energy in the room, you need to attend this man's class, because one, you're either laughing, you're crying, or you sweat. I mean, you're going to sweat regardless. But he brings so much energy to what could be potentially for a lot of people not fun. Now, boxing is fun, but you still bring so much energy to it. I love it. So if you haven't tried it, please go and try one of his classes at Rock Box. It's so much fun. And so back to your, and we call him the big teddy bear too. He thinks he's all tough. And he's not.
I'm not tough.
Don't let him scare you.
I am not tough.
So getting back to your Vigilante Fit, where and how did people get in touch with you?
They can go to my website, vigilantefit.com. They can also visit my Facebook page. I'm under Chris Jenkins, Chris the Vigilante in parentheses. You can also find me on Instagram, Chris.thevigilante_. Chris.thevigilante_. And I'm also on TikTok under the same name as well.
Yeah, you'll also find some of his, you call them competitions, but your powerlifting, I guess it's competition.
Correct.
Yeah. Which you just sit there and you go like, let me say that again. I mean, seriously, the amount of, the weight that he is lifting is just incredible and inspiring. But tell me something else that you think is really important for people to know about why they should seek out a personal trainer. Not just for those that have never done it before. That's definitely important, because we've talked about form. Form is key. But what else makes you think it's important for someone to seek out a personal trainer?
A lot of times what we do as human beings, like, we may think that we're doing all the right things, and a lot of times we done stepped in a few holes. We got a couple flaws, and then a lot of times it takes someone else to see, right, and point out those things that we need to correct and that we need to build on and that we can improve on. And personal trainers are great for that. It'll be the equivalent of having maybe like a therapist or something like that. If any of you attend counseling, I attend counseling. You attend counseling, and you talk to the counselor about some of the different things, you'll kind of figure out why you're the way you are and how you can get out of those habits. You get different tasks, and personal trainers do the same thing. It's like, hey, like, I'll give you an example. Like, I ask a lot of my clients, I'm like, hey, can you send me your meals this week? No judgment. Let's just try to, work on improving your eating habits. All right. Not necessarily telling you you can't have this and you can't have that. We're trying to improve your lifestyle. All right. So we're looking for you to get a little bit extra protein. We're looking for you to get a little bit extra fiber. Tell me how much water you had today. Things like that. And a lot of people think that they're eating the right things. A lot of people think they're doing the right things. They think that they're doing all the exercises correctly. And a lot of times they aren't, which is not necessarily bad, because if you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
But having that trainer, having that coach is what will help you. It will definitely make the difference between you having one, not having one. Yeah.
Right. And I think for someone, even if you've been, in a gym and lifting weights forever, sometimes you get complacent with what you do. And it may be that you're not seeing results because you've not on purpose, but your form has sort of, because you've done it so long, and all of a sudden, or you've done that so long, you need another way of working that so that your muscle can do a change.
Yes.
I mean, so there's always just that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And as far as the eating, I think it keeps you accountable to, and not everybody has the discipline that you have. So I know I do not. So you need somebody to help you. All right, Angela, now you had a great weekend. Let's get back on track,
Right.
or whatever it may be. But now, what are your thoughts on protein shakes? I'm always asked this question.
Protein shakes is a supplement, so we need to make sure that we make all the attempts in the world to try to get as much protein as we can through food. But if we're not hitting those protein goals, then protein shakes are just fine. But one of the things that we have to understand is that we have to pick a protein that we can tolerate the taste of. All of them do not taste good. I will admit that. All the bars and the shakes do not taste good. However, once you find one that you like, stick to it. Stick to it. But protein shakes are okay.
Yeah. I just like to chew my food. I do not want to drink them. And I know that there are times, especially days. I mean, I'll give you, like today, for instance, I probably should have brought some, but I'd rather chew my food and have to drink it. But, I know a lot of people depend on those. And, so that's why I wondered, because, there's some that are for it. But you're right. They do not taste all the same. Yuck.
They do not.
Well, thank you so very much for being here today. And again, all of Chris's information is at the bottom. And feel free to get in touch with him, or come see him at the Rock Box, or better yet, do both. But make sure you hit one of his classes, and if you want personal training, give him a call. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with me today, and I hope you enjoyed the show. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, or know someone you'd like to see on the show, contact me at forallthingslexington.com. That's the number 4, allthingslexington.com.
For All Things Lexington has been brought to you in part by Chris Jenkins of VigilanteFit.com. Train with a beast.
And by Angela Barrett at HomeMattersSC.com. Building on what matters to you.